and welcome to Curtain Call with Cosmo and Pauline, the December holiday version of the show. Woohoo!
Yes, awesome. Hi, Pauline. So happy to be here for our Christmas special. We have a great guest coming up in a bit. We'll do the drum roll, but can you believe we're in the Christmas holiday season already? It's
No,
December.
I can now, I guess, a little bit because of the snow. But I'm not a big fan of Christmas. But whatever. Got a lot of good theater anyway happening this month.
I see. I see. Bold statement, but we'll have a debate later on in the show, so
Well,
stay
I'm
tuned.
not saying that I don't like the holiday season. I just
Mhm.
don't like the cold weather for so long. And by the way, I have to say for those of you that are listening that Cosmo is decked out in his Christmas finery for this intro. So you look
Yes.
great.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And you do too, Pauline. But Christmas is, hey, you're wearing a beanie. It's winter.
That's right.
Well, what do we have going on for theater news, Pauline? You're headquartered up in the cities usually with your mini news.
I am, and I got some great shows to talk to you about today. First of all, I'm gonna just list a couple.
Sure.
Servants Christmas, which is November 19th through December 18th at History Theater. This it's set in 1899. It's a stocking stuffer filled with humor, song, and dance, a joy-filled musical there at History Theater in St. Paul. Children's Theater has Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Very limited tickets available until January, I'm sorry to say, but you might as well try if you want. Christmas Carol at the Guthrie is a tradition, and very good friend of mine is playing the Ghost of Christmas Present, and I'm sure she's great. I won't be able to see that show, but I encourage all of you to do that. Footloose at Chanhassen. And then the one I want to spend a little time on, which I encourage all of you to go. I have tickets, and I'm so excited about this. It's called Holidate, and it's original musical called a jukebox musical by Austin Van, who is a friend of mine, and she's a choreographer, singer, actress, director extraordinaire. She's just really awesome. This show is running November 25th through December 30th at Yellow Tree Theater, and it's starring Julius Collins of Dr. Mambo's Combo, incredible
Mhm.
singer. He's been a mainstay for good singing in the Twin Cities for years, and also his romantic opposite is Jennifer Grimm, who does Judy Garland tributes as well as sings anything and everything. She is an astounding singer. So you've got these two incredible singers as leads, and it's called a jukebox musical because they use songs from the jukebox, popular songs,
Right.
rather than songs
Mhm.
made up for the show. So
Oh, I think that's really cool and kind of a unique twist on it.
yeah, and so it has a
Mhm.
bunch of Christmas carols, Christmas songs that you will recognize, as
Right.
opposed to the
Awesome.
movie that we will talk about later, that of songs that were really bad and you don't recognize, but that's for later.
Okay. Okay.
And so this is it's a rom-com jukebox musical. I don't think I need to say more about that. It's a Christmas story, and I encourage all of you to go to that. Again, that's Yellow Tree Theater. Look it up, Yellow Tree Theater Holiday, in your Google search thing, and you will find it. And of course, I always like to mention at this time of year, Black Nativity, which Steve is playing in at Penumbra.
Right.
And that's December 1st through the 24th. And this is a great tradition to start. If you've never heard real Black gospel music, this is a show to go to. It blows you away. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the great soloists as well as the choir. So that's what I have for you in the cities.
Wow, fantastic, Pauline. And I think you go through it faster every time. So at
I
some
hope I'm
point
still
it'll
understandable. Sometimes people from other
you
countries have a hard time listening to me talk because I talk so fast.
it's fine. It's fine. Have you been on a global tour with people from other countries who have
No, it doesn't
been?
happen that often, but
Well,
in my mind on that tour, people would be saying, "What's that lady saying?"
it's not going to be that late. It's going to be Pauline Jennings. You're a rock star, Pauline.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
yes. Excellent. Well, I have some things going on more locally. First of all, there's auditions happening at Little Theater of Owatonna for Arms and the Man. That's their winter show performing in February. Juliana Skluzacek is the director. It's a three-act rom-com or romantic comedy. The play is set at the end of the 1885 Serbo-Bulgarian War, which I've definitely heard about. LTO is looking to cast 4 males and 3 females, and will hold auditions on December 12th and December 13th. For more info, go to the newly renovated site, littletheaterofowatonna.org. That's theater RE. Not going to talk about it. A Doll's House at the Guild, which is performing in March and directed by my good friend Mark Robinson, has announced its cast, so you can look on the Guild's website for that. I think it's about 10 actors making up the ensemble. And it's like a modern adaptation, so it's going to be different than when you'll normally see it. And I talked to Mark about his vision for this, and wow, it's really unique. So they're going to
Well,
make
it
a
always
show.
is. It always
Yeah.
is when Mark is directing the show. I have to
Absolutely.
say.
That's what makes him one of the most interesting directors, not just in the Northfield region, but Minnesota, I think. So,
And
and
when is this show going on?
that's in March, but they
Okay.
just announced the cast for it because
Got
they held auditions. And by the way, we are suing Jessica Chastain because she announced that she is starring in a modern adaptation of it on Broadway. Also, Newsies Jr. is rehearsing at Purple Door Youth Theater at the Guild, and it's performing the first 2 weekends of January. So just letting you know so you can get your tickets early, because I can almost guarantee you that these are going to sell out.
I'm
Also,
so excited for that.
and then at Sheldon Theater in Red Wing, catch a Queen tribute band tribute to one of the greatest bands of all time, titled A Night at the Theater. This concert will be a banger. More details at sheltontheater.org, theater RE. And Sheldon also has other Christmas events occurring this month, so check those out. And then this is in theater, but of course, Winter Walk in Northfield is coming up. So don't forget about the biggest non-September Townie event of the year. If you're looking for
Did you
some,
just say the biggest non-September Townie event?
yes,
That just rolled off your lips so easily. That's
oh,
nice.
thank you.
I like
Well,
it.
in the interview, we did the tongue twister, so I guess that helps me.
Yeah.
Also, if you're looking for some awesome Christmas lights, go to Keller Farm in Nurstrand, just about 5-10 miles out. And they put up their Christmas lights on December 13th, and they run through January 6th. And they are just immaculate. They're incredible. So have you been there before, Pauline?
I have not. I have
Wow,
not.
you have to make it a must activity
Sounds like it.
this year. And also, Pauline, you made a huge announcement on the show last month, a remounted Catastrophe 3. Are there any additional details you can provide us?
Did I say it's the same band as before? 9 out of the 10 actresses are returning. So it's basically the same show.
Mhm.
Pam Roth is not going to be doing it, so there won't be summertime in it. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. And I'll tell you what, people love this show. I went to a show down in a month ago down in Faribault, about a month ago, and some woman standing there, we started talking. I brought up Catastrophe. She said, I heard on the street that it was happening, and I already called for my tickets. They
Wow.
weren't on sale yet. Love the show. So I encourage all of
Right.
you to go. And
Awesome.
so, Cosmo, what is happening this month down in
Mhm.
Paradise Center for the Arts? What show?
This is the absolute must event of the season. It is A Christmas Carol playing at the Merlin Players at the Paradise Center for the Arts down in Faribault. And this is obviously a classic ever since it was written by Charles Dickens back in 400 BC.
1843. Thank you very
Thank-
kindly.
Yes, thank you very much. He's not Aesop. It's an incredible show. It has a huge cast, I think 20 to 30 cast members, maybe. It's directed by Sam Temple. And tonight is opening night. We got some inside information in our interview that they are almost sold out. So you need to get your tickets. It runs this weekend and next weekend. So be sure to go to it.
Did you mention that it's Merlin Players' swan song? This is their last show.
Yes, this is their final show after 28 years. Thank you so much to Juliana Skluzacek for providing.
I'm from New Prague, so I know how to say that name. It's Skluzacek. Easy for me.
It's Skluzacek. Wow, that is
Skluzacek.
really a theater name. It's a theater name if it's hard to pronounce. Skluzacek. So thank you to Juliana Skluzacek for providing this incredible theater experience for so many people locally in Faribault and Northfield and all over southern Minnesota. So and thank you to Sam Temple for bringing it alive for the last time.
Yay. Yay.
Mhm.
That's great. You know,
Yes.
I have a little theater news. I don't want to do too much because we got a great interview and it's a long one coming up.
Right.
But I do
Mhm.
want to say, because this is connected to what we were just talking about, on Christmas Carol, there are 135 versions of the show.
No way, really.
No, I tried to look up how many times it's been performed, but I don't know how you would ever track that. But it's
Yeah.
since 1844 when it was first performed after the
Wow.
book, the year after the book was written or released. Can you imagine the hundreds of thousands of times it's been
Yeah,
performed? I
I
don't
know.
know.
That's insane.
That is insane. Do you have
Mhm.
any news for us? Theater news,
Uh,
weird news, anything?
Not really. I just want to throw this out there, an idea.
Okay.
Now I've mentioned before I'm working on a Star Wars play that has all 9 Skywalker Saga films into one 3-hour play, but that's a separate topic. This one, it's an idea for a play that combines White Christmas, Holiday Inn, It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, Christmas in Connecticut, and It Happened on Fifth Avenue into one cohesive epic story. It's all the oldies and bring it all together. I don't know.
I'll be very interested in seeing what you write for that because it sounds
Yeah.
like a mess. But you know, you never know.
Well, if Back to the Future the musical can win an Olivier Award, then quite frankly,
Anything is possible.
Yes.
Have you watched any good Christmas movies, i.e., to see or not to see?
Yes, I have watched some good Christmas movies and I've watched some bad Christmas movies. And you have a debate coming up in a few minutes that I've been hydrating all day for. Do you mind if I start?
Please do.
I want to end on a happy note, so I'm going to start with my not to see.
Okay.
I just watched this week in preparation for the show. It's called Home Sweet Home Alone.
No, that sounds
Yeah.
bad already.
It's Home Alone 6, technically. The fourth one without Macaulay Culkin. I don't know what hill they're on, but they just keep going down. Why do we need a Home Alone reboot?
Right.
Really? I mean, it dropped on Disney Plus last year, and I think they're trying to bury it because I needed to nearly put in the whole title for it to come up on the search.
Nobody else has been watching it then.
Yeah, exactly. And it stars Archie Yates, who was in Jojo Rabbit, Ellie Kemper and Rob Delaney as the robbers, aka Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. And I mean, they're fine in it. The cast doesn't do anything wrong. It's just the writing is really, they tried to mix it up and make the burglars sympathetic, and it's just a whole misunderstanding about why they break into his house and everything. And it tries to have some nice themes about home and family, but that all just gets lost in it. And might I say, the traps in this just don't make sense. They defy any sense of physics or reality.
I see.
Really. And there's also a ton of product placement in this movie. They have a Star Wars pillow, they have Nerf guns, water guns, they have a UPS truck, they have a BMW logo, Legos, they have everything you could imagine.
So a very American Christmas movie with the consumerism built in.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So this is kind of how I sum it up. Short version, it's a heaping pile of holiday trash, but longer version, utterly devoid of any purpose whatsoever, kind of like Christmas caroling, Home Sweet Home Alone is yet another unnecessary reboot that could have been made so much better by ceasing to exist. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
No, that's bad, but wait a second. What's wrong with Christmas caroling?
I mean, I don't mind it. Talk to my dad about it. Let's have him
We're
on
going to have
here.
to have a conversation because I think it's delightful when you open the door and there's carolers. I wish we still did.
Not when people can't sing like
Well,
me.
okay, fair enough. I
Yes.
agree.
Okay, so Pauline, what do you have for me?
All right. Well, I tried to watch multiple movies, but
Mhm.
I ended up turning them off because they're also bad. Sorry. First one is the Lindsay Lohan. She hasn't acted in a long time, hadn't been in a movie,
Mhm.
and she decided to do so in a movie called Falling for Christmas. And it's a rom-com in which both rom and com are both in short supply. I got that from somebody else. I think that's very, very funny. There's no chemistry. It's about rich people. It is vapid. So don't watch it. So
I wanted to watch it, so maybe I won't.
you
But
may not, although you may disagree with me on these because that was
Mhm.
59% on Rotten Tomatoes. So a lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
liked it. Next
Mhm.
one is one that you suggested. I don't think was seeing it. Maybe you saw it, but A Christmas Story Christmas, the latest.
What? How dare you? How
Well,
dare
this
you
is
call
it
me?
gets worse, Cosmo. It gets worse, but this one is 64% on
Mhm.
Rotten Tomatoes. So a lot of people again disagree with me, but it's basically it's a legacy sequel to the A Christmas Story movie made in 1983, starring the guy that was the kid as an adult now, and he's a bad actor. I just think he's bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't, I didn't like him. That's all I can say. I just thought it was
Well, I
bad acting, poor editing because it felt like there was spaces between lines that you could drive a truck through. I just did not like it.
I mean, I thought that it was fine. It could have been better, but I still enjoyed it and I thought it was kind of nostalgic and fun.
Yeah, kind of. Anyway, go ahead and watch it, but I couldn't get through the whole thing. And here's
Okay.
the real debate: Spirited. Oh my God. Like, why? 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 Farrell and Reynolds. So it's Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. They make it's an awkward double act in a slick but grating song and dance spin on A Christmas Carol that will make Grinches out of all of us. I'm getting the evil eye from him. I
I'm
thought,
staring
okay,
daggers
these
at
guys
you.
are not singers. Why would you make a musical with them as the leads? And two white guys, as I've said many times on this, there's plenty of vehicles. Why create a vehicle for two people that's a musical that can't really sing? I mean, they're fine, but they're not singers. So it's kind of a head scratcher of why it was even made, and one that's never justified or even mildly explained, given that they're neither of them are song and dance guys. And I think it's poorly written. The songs are easy. They're not that clever. I mean, there's clever words and clever rhyming and all that, but it's just gimmies. It's like we all could have written those songs, or at least the lyrics anyway. But it's slickly packaged. I'll give you that. I mean, it looks good. The filming's great. Poorly developed joke writing, a string of misses, crashing from the very first scene is what I saw. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 69%. So there's a lot of people, including you, as I could tell from the looks that you just gave me, do not agree with me. Bring it on.
I mean, I didn't love it, but I still thought it was fun. It's Christmas and it's nice. And I kind of gave you my opinion in the email I sent you, but that was nice, Cosmo. That was Dr. Jekyll. I'm Mr. Hyde now.
Okay.
So I like the music in it. It's by Ben Pasek and Justin Paul, who did Dear Evan Hansen, which I'm not a fan of the soundtrack on that, to be honest. But they did Great Showman, which I do like. And I thought the songs were kind of catchy, the dancing. And sure, they're not singers, but they can still pull it off, I think, because they're charming and they're comedic. I think they have nice banter, actually.
Okay,
And
so wait a second. You said they can pull it off. When you're looking at a major star vehicle, pulling it off isn't good enough. When you got so many people out there that are great actors and can sing, if they needed to do another Farrell Reynolds movie, this was not a musical. Was not the choice.
I see. Okay. And Octavia Spencer is also in it, though. And I thought she did a fine job as
It was
well.
fine.
It was fun. It got kind of overstuffed. I mean, it's it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes long, so they could have cut quite a bit of stuff, but
Like all of it.
this conversation is going
By the
nowhere.
way, their banter is hackneyed. It's all been done. It's not funny anymore. Not in this. Not they have to find a new vehicle for their humor that they do, which I love. I've watched a lot of the movies with the two of them, and I really like them. We beat that dead horse. I think we're done. Either watch it or don't.
Now it's 2C. My 2C is well, I have a couple of them that I just want to mention. If you're looking for a TV show, Hawkeye, because I always have to do a Marvel plug because
Yes,
they're
you do.
paying me.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. It's Christmassy and it's fun. And then also, if you're looking for something local, Love Always Santa was a Hallmark movie that was done here 5 to 6 years ago, and we were actually extras in it. Me and my mom and my dad were extras in a scene, and we thought you could maybe see a glimpse of my mom's coat, or else we were cut from the film, and if so, they will be getting legal
Where do you
papers in
find?
their mail.
Where could you find this show? This movie?
You can actually purchase it at the Northfield Chamber of Commerce, but also you can probably record it. I'm sure it'll air on Hallmark at some point. So
Got it.
but my main 2C is my personal favorite Christmas movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And I watch this every Christmas. The movie is as funny as Chevy Chase is mean, so you can imagine how great it is. This is how I sum it up. Thanks to relatable gimmicks, stellar writing by John Hughes, hilarious performances, and iconic scenes, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is anything but a burning tree lit by Uncle Lewis. And I just think it's a fun holiday classic.
I've never seen it.
Wow, really?
Well,
Okay.
I don't like Chevy Chase.
I get it. I get it.
He has said so many awful things over the years. I don't even want to watch him on screen, but maybe I will because it's your favorite. Maybe I'll just bite the bullet and ignore.
You don't have
the
to watch
fact.
Caddyshack. You don't have to watch the original Vacation. Just watch this.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
I will.
What's your 2C, Pauline?
Well, I'm repeating from last year because I couldn't find one for this year.
Sure.
And also because I love them so much. Now, one you've probably seen, which is Elf, which is
Of course.
Will Ferrell. They,
Yes.
which this new movie Spirited does not carry any of the charm that Elf does. It is a movie to see. If you haven't seen it, do it. It's a great movie to watch with the kids. And another one is Klaus, Klaus. This is animated. And maybe a lot of you haven't seen this one, but it is, I think, one of the most beautifully animated movies I've ever seen. It's hard to kind of watch what's going on. You almost have to watch it a couple times, but one reviewer called it aggressively likable. And it is, everybody will like it. It's just so likable. There's known motifs with twists for various montages and scenes. But Klaus allows the audience to be in on the joke all the time. It keeps older audiences engaged and has plenty for younger kids too.
Yeah.
Klaus, Klaus.
Not only is that one of my favorite holiday movies, it's also one of my favorite animated movies, I would say.
We'll let it rest there because that's a really good note.
Yes, absolutely.
Cosmo, not to see
Home Sweet Home Alone and
Spirited. And to see is
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and Love Always Santa.
And Klaus and Elf. There you go.
Woohoo! Awesome. All right, Pauline. Well, it is the time to introduce our guest this month.
And who is it?
Call Steve for the drum roll. Our guest this month is Dean Lamb.
Dean Lamb has been in a lot of shows, I'll tell you that.
Yes, most certainly. And I think he's a perfect guest for this type of show. And we've wanted to have him on for a while, so I'm glad that we did. He's in A Christmas Carol currently, and that'll be, again, opening night is tonight, and then it'll play next weekend. I first worked with him about 4 years ago in A Christmas Story, and he's since been one of my go-to people to work with or collaborate with, and he's just a fun, silly person to be around.
And he's very kind.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And I've been in a couple shows with them, the most recently being Peter and the Starcatcher. We had a couple scenes together, and so that was a lot of fun. So I'm very excited as well to have him on the show.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Dean Lamb to the Curtain Call Holiday Extravaganza. Hello, Dean, and welcome to the Curtain Call Holiday Special. We're so happy that you're here with us.
Hello, Cosmo and Pauline. I am very glad to be here with you.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have Dean on because seriously, I swear he's been in every show that I've seen in the last 5 years. So you've got a lot of experience on the stage, and it's going to be fun to talk with you.
Most certainly. And we've wanted to have you on for a while, and we figured this was a fitting one because you're in A Christmas Carol at the Merlin Players coming up here. And of course, you also had the iconic role of Santa Claus a few years ago, which I would know something about at a certain show at the Guild, A Christmas Story. Anyway, but I want to start before we get to Christmas Carol and Merlin Players talking about you. But even before I get to that, I need to warm you up. And we need to warm up too. So do you have a particular tongue twister that you would like to share with us?
You need to warm up.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. I'm tripping.
Well, as a musician, I grew up doing red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Yes, that's a good one because it's harder than you think. Kind of moves every part of your mouth.
Yes.
Red leather, yellow leather. Say it 5 times, Cosmo. Can you?
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
That's good. Now try it at
It
home,
was
folks.
actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean.
All right. So now you've had a long career in theater. You're a stage rock star, and but you're also a musician star. You play the tuba, of course. So how did you get first involved in theater? And if you want, you can throw in how music got involved in that too. But what's your first memory on stage? That's kind of the question that
Well, my first role was not until I was in 10th grade, because we didn't have any opportunities younger than 9th grade. And it wasn't something that really crossed my path in 9th grade. And then a friend of mine had a really cute sister who asked me to audition for a show in the fall of 1969. And I was cast as Dirk Sneath, the sidekick to the evil Simon something or other, in an old-fashioned melodrama.
Oh, fun.
And we just had a lot of fun because we got to improv a lot in it and interact with the audience. And it was funny and fun, and I was hooked. And so that was my first role.
And that's a good role for you, because I don't want to categorize you, but I think you excel at silly characters really well, because, well, you are one,
Yes.
So
Yes. I usually am not the guy that has a lot of lines with you. I'm usually the guy with the funny voice and a little quirky. But and that's always fun to figure out those little hooks.
You're a character actor,
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I've seen you do some straight roles too. And so I think it seems like you have done kind of every category of role. So did you continue through then high school and college, and where did you go?
I continued through high school. I was able to do 10 shows in 3 years in high school.
Wow.
And we had a really, really ultra basic stage to work on. I mean, the entire lighting system was 6 switches.
Wow.
It was that, but we had excellent teaching, and they really challenged us to do some really outstanding plays.
Nice.
That we did. We did Harvey and 1984, along with the silliness of doing a melodrama every year. And in high school, I actually got to play the lead in a world premiere performance.
Cool.
Because one of our teachers wrote one of those melodramas. She just said, well, I can write something this good. And she wrote a melodrama, and we performed it, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
I assume it continued on from there. And
yes, I actually only did 2 shows in college because I was concentrating on music performance and music education, getting my Bachelor of Music Education degree. The only 2 shows that I did in college actually were, I did light design and sound design for a production of Bus Stop.
Oh, cool.
And was never on stage. And the other one was a farcical ballet based on Jabberwocky.
Oh my God, that sounds interesting.
And the music was provided by Alt Tubas.
Oh my
God. And the rest of us were dancing, in quotes, and having a great time telling this story of Jabberwocky.
Delightful. Wow. When did you step on the Guild stage then?
The first time I was on the Guild stage was Population 485. And that was kind of right up my alley. I was originally cast as one role. And then as we did the table read, we kept finding other little roles that had like 1 line, characters that came in with 1 line or 2 lines. And so by the time we were performing, I was doing 6 roles.
Wow.
each
Wow.
with a different character and different voice, and that was a lot of fun.
That's very cool. But as a musician, you also sing, so you've been in musicals too, right? Like you were in The Secret Garden a few years ago.
Bright
But
Star,
Bright Star, okay.
and there was a lot of singing in Peter and the Starcatcher.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And those are both recent this year, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
they were literally back to back.
So you like to keep busy in the theater realm then?
It's been 14 months right now since I haven't had a next show. And for
Wow.
the finally, I don't have a next show. I'm taking a cycle off so that I can spend some time with some people that I want to be with and get a little bit of rest and recuperation. I was planning on taking some time off before Peter and the Starcatcher, and then my wife passed away. And theater and the people from theater became my salvation. And so I've been very busy since then, but now I'm ready to take a couple of months off.
I think that's such a great testament to theater in that it
Yes.
was a salvation, it's healing, it's all those kind of things. It can save
There,
you.
there were some very important people in my life that knew that that's what I needed to do and encouraged me to audition for Peter and the Starcatcher when I hadn't originally planned to be a part of that show. It made a difference.
Well, you were terrific in it, and the singing was great. It was great to have you there to help us with the parts, and I'm really glad. Dean and I were in that show together, and I really had a lot of fun working with you. So
one of these days, I'm going to be in a show with Cosmo again.
Yes, I certainly hope so. It's been a while.
Cosmo has not been on stage in quite a while. He's been too busy doing his other things.
Yeah, I definitely hope I can be in a show with you again soon. We worked on Christmas Story together. That was a lot of fun. And of course, I got to tell you what I wanted for Christmas on stage.
Yes.
And well, you must have passed it along to the real Santa Claus because it worked. Yeah. Or maybe you become the real Santa Claus when you're on stage. Who knows how that Christmas magic happens? But
well, actually, Darth Vader and Santa Claus are the same person.
How's that possible?
Have you ever seen them together? Do they each have magic?
Is that all there is to it?
I don't know if the Force is magic. We're going down a rabbit hole with a lot of opinions here with these two people, these two Star Wars fans here. So
yes,
I'm seeing red a little bit.
Probably time to take a left turn.
Dean, before I hand you over to Pauline, I do want to talk about Christmas Carol at the Merlin Players, and this is the final Merlin Players show after 28 years.
28 years.
28. Wow. So how does it feel to be a part of that?
I was not available for the first 3 weeks of rehearsal because of the end of Peter and the Starcatcher. So I was lucky that I was able to talk them into letting me do 5 basically cameos. 2 of them I actually speak, and 3 of them are just on stage roles where they were able to plug me in later on. I really knew that if that was the last Merlin show, that I wanted to be a part of it somehow.
Nice.
And Sam and Matthew made it possible for me to do that, and I'm grateful for that.
I do want to say that A Christmas Carol at the Merlin Players performs Friday, December 2nd, Saturday the 3rd, Thursday the 8th, Friday the 9th, Saturday the 10th at 7:30, as well as Sunday, December 4th and Sunday the 11th at 2:00 p.m. And there's an ASL interpreted performance in there, as well as an audio description performance. So that's 7 performances total, and
kind of early, so folks get out and see it. I mean, it's
it's
earlier in the
and
month. So.
I would encourage your listeners to maybe check online about tickets, because we already know that it's about 90% sold out.
Oh, wow. That's
great.
High profile, top secret information. Thank you.
Yes.
Right, we're in the know.
Yeah, I want to know who your sources are because I've been trying to get a little birdie to talk to me.
Well, all you got to do is look online and see.
No,
Not a-
Dean, that's supposed to be just information for this show.
I wanted it to be like a big WikiLeaks thing or something.
Right.
Whatever.
Well,
All right.
that's a great tribute to Merlin players which they will have sold out performances for this whole thing. As people say goodbye to this wonderful institution that's been around for 28 years. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I do want to mention that the reason they chose this show and this time is that back when the Paradise Center was recently opened 15 years ago, the first live theater on stage at the Paradise was a Merlin Players production of Christmas Carol. And so we're kind of bookending that
Totally.
for Merlin Players and the Paradise Center.
How lovely.
That's very cool. Awesome. Well, you've pretty much answered all my questions regarding that. So now I'm going to hand you over to Pauline.
Okay. So Dean, best role you never had or roles that are still on your bucket list that you think you can get?
The
I
suspense is killing
really
me.
would have to put a lot of thought into that. I do have an odd affinity for theater of the absurd and Eugene Ionesco, and some of those really thought-provoking, strange things. More well-known, it's Samuel L. Beckett, but Waiting for Godot. That type of theater that really makes you think about what the heck do they really mean?
Right. What's going on?
Really gets deep and makes people think, and sometimes you have to see it more than once to catch everything.
Yeah, nice. Was there a role that you auditioned for that you didn't get, or have you pretty much been one of those very small percentage of happy actors?
I did 41 auditions in a row that I at least got cast.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's great. All right. Well, thank you for that. Now, I would like to know best but worst, because failures, audition story that you have.
I am pretty thorough at preparing for auditions, so I don't really have a bad audition story. There were a couple of times, there have only been three times, all here in Northfield, that I didn't get cast. And the one that's the most interesting to me was Rachel Heider's production of The Humans. And I walked in and looked at who was around, and I was auditioning for the role of the father and felt pretty confident. And then in walks Brian Reed, and I thought, oh, okay, there's some competition. This will be interesting. And then in walks Frank Blomgren, and I went, oh, okay, I'm gonna go home now. Because he is so wonderfully nuanced and was so much better suited for that role than I was.
He did a great job. Oh, yes,
yes.
Good.
I haven't always gotten the role that I auditioned for. When I went in and auditioned and got the role as Santa Claus, I was auditioning for the role of the old man, which Bob got, and we had fun.
Do you like to audition?
Yes.
Okay, see, I knew you were going to say yes, because you're an odd actor because of your percentage of getting roles and not having a bad audition story. And now you're telling me you like auditions, which just is so rare. We've got a rare actor on our hands here, Coswell. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest on stage save or mistake that didn't get saved, either one.
It's not really a humorous story, but it's a story that I'm kind of proud of.
Oh, tell us.
Michael Lambert was playing the lead in Present Laughter in a Merlin Players show, and he had a huge memorization challenge in that. He was literally on stage for the entire show, had half a play's worth of dialogue to memorize.
Yikes.
And there were a lot of scenes that were very similar, like They started the same and then went a different way. And toward the end of a performance, he just blanked. And I was playing the butler. And he just said loudly, I wish that Fred would come in and clean up this mess. And so I came in and started my part of the scene about 4 pages too early. And we just skipped over a bunch of stuff.
Wow.
And after the show, he said, I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. And I said, you didn't embarrass me. You said, come save me. So I did.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's really great. I love
Yeah,
that story.
That's cool.
That I bet you with all the shows that you've been on, you've seen quite a few times people have had to be saved on stage or not so much.
Well, there is one other thing.
Okay, go.
Yes. And I think Cosmo has heard this story before, but did you know that the most fun I ever had on stage was when I broke the Yellow Brick Road?
What?
I did hear this. Yes, it's
I have
classic
not.
story. Classic.
One of the last shows that I did in high school was a play version, not a musical version, but a play of The Wizard of Oz. And my favorite scene in that was when I was the lion, of course, and I had to run and scare away the monkeys. And we had an elevated yellow brick road built all the way from the back up to the stage.
Cool.
And it was all on A-frames. And my job was to run and plant my foot against the edge of the stage, roar, push off, spin around, run back, and do a hook slide at Dorothy's feet.
Oh,
And
wow.
the first time I did that, I ran, I roared, I planted, I spin, I run, I slide. The audience goes, yes! Okay. And the second night, I ran, I roared, I spun, and the audience went, yes! And the third night, I got a little bit too excited.
Oh, no.
And Dorothy said, when I pushed off, my hips were higher than her head. And I came down on the yellow brick road, boom, and the audience went,
Right?
and then I heard ting, 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 ting. I had broken the chain that held all of those A-frames together. And the yellow brick road started tilting to the right. And so we scurried up onto the stage. And for the rest of the night, fortunately, it was the last performance, but for the rest of the night, Craig and Leon had to go underneath the yellow brick road and hold it up with their backs.
Oh, no. That is
And-
awesome.
And so the last time we crossed the yellow brick road, I walked and I stopped right in the right place. And I looked around like I was protecting my friends. And then I heard somebody go, underneath the yellow brick road. And so that was the most fun I ever had on stage, because I never liked Craig and Leon.
Funny. Nice.
You're
Zinger.
so cruel. You're so cruel.
Okay, good. Well, he joined
that
he joined the evil
that
side.
story is about 60% true, but I did break the yellow brick road.
That is
I
hilarious.
hope that you played the Elton John song when that happened.
All right, Dean, I am done with you. I don't think I was cruel. I think you're projecting, Cosmo, for this next section where you can be hard on people, but take it away.
So, Dean, this is where we get to the darkest part of our interview. You have to face.
What?
This is a Christmas special. Come on. This is where you must face off against the dialector, formerly known as the dialect master. I'm going to pick 2 dialects for you to say, and you have to say this line in order to destroy the dialector before he takes over Christmas and Santa's workshop. There's a lot at stake here. So the line is from this odd little song. I've never heard it before. Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene. Kind of sappy lyrics there. So Dean.
A lot of alliteration.
Yes, there is. That's good to have tongue twisters beforehand. So Dean, my first dialect for you is the master himself, Mr. Santa Claus. And you can add things too, like a ho
So-
ho ho or whatever.
So more like a character than necessarily a dialect. Although you
Sure.
you could use a dialect to do the character.
How about a British Santa?
Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers run home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene. Ho, ho, ho.
Irish Santa. Woohoo!
Irish
Maybe
Santa's
Scottish, a little Scottish Irish. That was great. That was
Yeah.
really great.
Irish Santa kind of scares me.
He was kind of scary. Maybe
The
he's
ho,
got
ho,
some
ho
Darth
at the end.
Vader in him.
Yeah. Well, they're the same person apparently. All right. Next character I have for you is kind of the opposite of Santa, an elf. So you might want to raise your pitch a little bit there.
Oh, you're giving him a director's note before he even starts.
You could tug on your ears too if you wanted to.
Strings of street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green. You didn't know that leprechauns could be elves, could you? As the shoppers rush home with their treasures, hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene.
I like that. Leprechaun
Right.
elves.
Yes.
Woo! Nicely done.
Now,
I
if you
think-
wanted me to sound like me, I would have to practice.
Yeah. All right. So this last dialect, character, voice, accent, whatever, it's up to you. You get to choose this last dialect, character, voice, accent, whatever you want it to be, and say the line with it.
Strings of streetlights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green. Shop rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch. See the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene.
That's terrifying. Okay. Do you see how purple I am suddenly? I mean, that was
Terrifying.
Was that Krampus, whatever the monster's name is, this Christmas monster?
Oh, it's just a voice I've always done.
Don't do it again.
You
I-
need
I
a
would
name for that voice, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think we've unfortunately come to the end of our interview here. But before we go, is there a particular quote that you would like to leave us off with, maybe theatrical in some way, or if there's just something that's been stuck in your head the past few days?
Well, I've never not had an earworm. I don't ever remember not having an earworm. And my latest earworms have been from Sweeney Todd because I listened to that album with a friend recently. And so I would end with, no one's gonna harm you, not while I'm around.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
a favorite
that's a
song.
nice little Christmas gift for all of us. Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely. Thank you for doing this, and I hope everything goes well at the Paradise with the Merlin Players final show. Break a leg, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for being on. It was great to see you. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for having me.
Well, what a great interview. I really like talking to him and what fun he is. What fun
Yeah.
he is with his voices and his characters.
Absolutely. He's a great guest, and I'm glad that we got to see him, and I'm glad we got to have somebody on from A Christmas Carol. So once more, it's performing tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, as well as the next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tickets at paradisecenterforthearts.org. It's going to be a fantastic show.
And the last show of the Merlin Players, which had a glorious 28-year run led by the wonderful Juliana Sklzacek. So definitely go see it if you can and get tickets now, because I think that I think Dean said they're selling fast. So
Yeah. Yes, well, thank you to our special guest, Dean Lamp, and thank you to Jeff Johnson in 95.1 The One for airing our show for 2 years now.
and thank you so much to my wonderful, wonderful co-host, Cosmo Esplin.
And thank you for being my awesome co-host, Pauline Schuster Jennings.
You're welcome. And remember,
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.